all right, people will take advantage of you. Do they mean to take advantage of you, or is it just something that, is just innate in people where they look out for their best interests? Well, this is the reason why you should always have a contract, no matter what you do. And in this episode of the Startup Junkie, number 34, we're going to talk about the importance of contracts and how you can protect you and your company. So check it out. Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome, family. This is the Startup Junkie. I'm your host, AJ of the Startup Junkie Show, and this is episode number 34. Today, we're going to talk about the importance of contracts and why you should get them and why you should actually have them in your business. Because let's face it, the days of just shaking hands and, being a man or woman of your word doesn't always work out the way that it is supposed to work out. So we're going to talk about the importance of contracts today. We're going to talk about seeing the snakes in the grass, then you wait on their ass. Yes, that is a rap reference from Jay-Z, but it's so true because people will take advantage of you whether they mean to or not. You're going to enjoy today's show as I am going to share three specific stories, some stories from the past, and a very current story on why having contracts and specifics in contracts are so vital to you and your business and being able to, one, get paid, two, avoid litigious activity, in other words, avoiding being sued, and three, being able to sue when you have to, and four, basically setting the expectations of what the client relationship is, the client-customer relationship is. Okay, so, all right, here we go. The story of the herbalist. Okay, now, some years ago, when our company was AR Merit, and we owned a marketing firm. Okay, we owned a marketing firm. And basically, we landed that one big whale. That one big whale. At least it wasn't a whale at the time. It was more like a minnow or little fish in a pond. But we knew that this guy was really onto something, and that we could actually help grow his business. Coming out of radio as an account executive, dealing with major clients such as Apple, Sony, Wrigley's, and just basically Fortune 500 and 100 companies, I knew that I had some insight on how to market smaller companies the way that major companies did, but at a significantly reduced cost in terms of budgeting, right? And so I basically landed this client, forged this relationship, and we took this small herbalist from a small cart in the mall to multiple locations, and this herbalist also was able to basically create their own product. And we consulted them, we told them different things. So our relationship with the client actually went beyond just marketing. Now, our contract specifically said that, hey, we're going to help you with radio advertising. We're going to help you. The internet was fairly new. We're going to help you with SEM, which is search engine marketing. We're going to help you with all those different things to actually help create brand awareness of your herbal shop and your products. But we're not only going to do that, but we're actually going to get you a spokesperson, someone that's very popular on the radio, and all you have to do is pay them a little amount of money each month, but we're going to get them to endorse your product 100% all the time. They will become the face of your product. So did it work? Yes, it worked to the tune of millions of dollars in sales for this herbalist, right? So the herbalist was primarily pushing weight loss products, and he really started to gain traction, so much so that this small cart in the mall guy became this guy that owned all these stores, which, by the way, he franchised out. But because he became so big, he started to get the attention of big agencies. Well, big agencies who were basically trying to procure his business from our firm, right? And so, unbeknownst to us, the guy was constantly talking to all these different agencies. And how advertising agencies work is like this, okay? Basically, they get a percentage of whatever your ad dollar spend is. Like, say, for example, if you're spending, say, $100,000, typically an ad agency will get about 15% of that because that's the standard going rate. But they also get what is called a monthly retainer. And that monthly retainer is for, say, if you have questions, or you want to get a proposal, you want something from the advertising agency that they do outside of actually doing market research and placing ads across the country for you, okay? So you have to pay them not only 15% of your ad spend, but you also have to pay them a monthly retainer. Now, in our relationship, when we first got into the relationship with the Herbalist, we did not have in our contract a monthly retainer. Why? Because the client was small, right? And we tried to negotiate once the client got big. We tried to negotiate a monthly retainer in a new contract, but it didn't work. And to be honest with you, because it was our big whale, and because we were there from inception, from small Carton Mall to all these stores, we were really afraid of actually losing the client because 80% of our income came from that one client, right? 80% of what kept us going came from that one client. So we were literally afraid to lose that client. So what ends up happening? We actually end up losing the client anyway. You want to know why? Because all the client would do is call us and ask us questions that had absolutely nothing to do with what was in our set responsibilities within the contract, right? And we happily gave information over a consultant, the client, because we did not want to lose the client because, as I said again, 80% of our income was actually coming from the client, right? And so our client, basically, we found out later, compared notes with what one agency that was courting them told them and what we were telling them, and they eventually end up going with an agency in Chicago, right? They had literally outgrown us. But technically they hadn't outgrown us, but they outgrew us because the other agency that actually landed them were very, very shrewd, okay? Very, very shrewd. Not only did they get a $9,995 a month retainer, but the damn near $1 million, well, that's not true. The damn near, I would say it was closer to like maybe $500,000 at that time that they were spending in multiple markets across the U.S. They got 15% of that. Then on top of that, they got a well-known celebrity to actually endorse the product. So the client went from a small Carton Mall to multi-stores, having a local celebrity endorse their product, to having a nationwide or a national or actually international celebrity endorsing their product. And we helped facilitate that all through our consulting with that client, because we went outside of the scope of what our contract said. And guess what? We had absolutely 100% no recourse for getting any money. We had no recourse because, one, we didn't stick to our contract ourselves because we were afraid to lose the client, and two, the client took advantage of us, and the client ultimately ended up leaving us for someone that they actually paid more. Now, what is the moral to this story? Okay, number one, first thing we learned was no one really likes a yes person. And you're like, what's a yes person? Yes person is whatever you say, I'm saying yes to, right? We should have said no, okay? We should have said no. That's not part of our job description, whether we were going to lose the client or not, because ultimately we did. So basically the client took advantage of the relationship and we lost the client. And the second thing that we learned was not to depend 100% or have the majority of our money coming from a small number of clients. In this particular case, only one client. So it was important for us to follow the contract as the contract was written. So I hope you got something out of that story. I'm gonna go on to story number two. Now, story number two is the radio station. Now, Some people watching this might know exactly who I'm talking about, but not really, because we've dealt with several radio stations. So let me tell you a function of what it is we were doing some time ago as a marketing agency. Marketing is all about sales, promotions, PR, all of those different things that actually help you get your end result or your macro conversion. And that is the sale of your product or service. Okay? Every little step that leads to that macro conversion are called micro steps, okay? Micro conversion steps. So yes, I'm speaking Google Talk right now. Google Speak, that's what I'm doing, okay? So let me tell you the situation with the radio station. Okay, so we had this bright idea of representing radio stations by actually giving them an independent sales force, right? Because we understand radio and how it works based on our combined almost 50 years of experience within our office in radio. So like, you know what? Hey, this is a niche that we can actually go after, and we can actually create some revenue, additional revenue for our company, right? So we landed this client. We met with several radio stations, but with one particular client we landed. And let me tell you what the radio station did. So we had a specific contract with the radio station to where this is what we do, primarily sales. But what we experienced every time that we were around the owner of the radio station, this guy, no matter who this guy was meeting with, would always refer people to us, whether it was for radio station interviews, radio station just meeting for things that had absolutely nothing to do with what was going on in our contract. But why did they do it? Because they knew that we knew so much about radio that we could literally answer any question or come up with any kind of proposal on the spot. You know, you might be saying, oh, well, that's a great thing because you get to meet all these people and all that. No, not necessarily. They basically took advantage of the situation. And because we really wanted to have what is called proof of concept, right? In other words, we wanted to prove that we had an idea. We created a business model canvas where we looked at cost structure, we looked at the customer relationship, we looked at the value proposition, we looked at all these different things that we could have proof of concept and establish what is called a WTP, willingness to pay. That someone would be willing to pay us for our idea, and we actually proved that with this particular radio station because we started making money with them, handling all of his sales. But because there was so much other stuff that they would throw at us that wasn't in the contract, we experienced what is called opportunity cost. And you might say, well, what are opportunity costs? Opportunity cost is this: when you spend time, money, and energy, again, time, money, and energy on things that have absolutely nothing to do with your responsibility. And the opportunity cost actually lends itself or leads itself to an opportunity loss. In other words, we start spending so much time in our relationship with the radio station and the radio station owner that we started missing opportunities and other clients that we could make far more money from the relationship or generate more revenue for our company, ThinkReds. And so what ended up happening, we literally had to end the contract. And we had to end the contract because the set of responsibilities went outside of the scope of what we were supposed to be doing. So what is the lesson here for you as an entrepreneur or startup? The lesson here is simply this: specifically stick to what is in your contract. The owner of the radio station 100% took advantage of what it is, our experience, because he knew that we knew more about running a radio station than he actually did, even though he owned one. Why? Because we knew more about how traffic worked. We know what traffic means. Traffic is how commercial flow runs throughout a radio station. We knew more about radio station sales. We knew more about radio station promotions. We knew more about putting contracts together for radio stations because, again, I said a combined 50-year experience within our company. So we basically X that contract. So again, the story or the lesson here is to always stick to what it is that your contract says, the specifics. So when you stick to the specifics of your contract, now you have a leg to stand on if you have to sue them if they don't pay you, which, by the way, that's what we're doing with that particular radio station. Well, actually, a couple radio stations. But nonetheless, that is the lesson that we learned. So lesson number 3, or story number 3, that is, this is the story of the business consultant. Okay, so here we go. I got to take a swig of coffee on this, okay? All right, so the business consultant story, right? Oftentimes, business consultants actually reach out to our company and ask us to consult them about specific problems that they're having with clients, right? And so recently we just had a meeting with this guy who represents about 4 or 5 different businesses, okay? And the guy first reached out to me on DM, okay? Even though in my stories I always say, hey, email us at sales@thinkgrids.com. That's sales@thinkgrids.com, or go online to our radio station and fill out a form. So person reaches out to us, right? And so I'm like, all right, well, hell, I mean, he's right here in the DM. Why not? So I responded to the guy, right? The guy says, hey, look, you guys don't actually, y'all need to work on y'all response, y'all responding, or y'all customer relationship with potential clients, because you guys don't respond. And I started thinking to myself, don't respond. So I literally called up Barbara, who handles like all of our CRM stuff, which is customer relationship management stuff, and handles all of our emails. And I was like, hey, Barbara, did you get an email or did you get a form submitted by this guy? And she searched and searched and she could not find anything, right? Why? We're digitized, so we know everything that comes in and we're tracking everything. So come to find out that this business consultant, when he said that we didn't follow up, the business consultant had DM'd me, right? And if you're like me on Facebook, you probably get a lot of crazy DMs. People trying to get you to play games, people sending sex videos, people spamming you, telling you to vote for whomever. You get a lot of crazy stuff. So honestly, I don't really check my DMs, right? And and it's not going down in the DM. It's not, because I'm a married man and I could care less about any woman coming at me or guy coming at me in the DM. I just don't get down like that. All right. So anyway, here's the point. Found out that this what this person did, right? They DM'd me. Now this is a business consultant DMing as opposed to actually going through a formal process. So not only did the person DM me, right? So the person hopped in on one of my shows and they start like making comments to me. Y'all need to work on this. Y'all need to work on that. So I said, hey, send me your number. Okay. They sent me their number. I called them, come to find out again, confirmed. They DM me. I said, but hey, I'll give you a 45-minute meeting. Okay. A free 45-minute consult. Well, anyway, the consult ended up lasting an hour and a half. Okay. Not only did the consult end up lasting an hour and a half, now keep in mind, we're digital asset management and development. What we do is we help install payment gateways. And say if you own a church, or you own if you own like a daycare, if you own a private school, a little prep academy or whatever, we actually also help with LMSs, which learning management systems. We actually help take all of your curriculum and put online, and where your students can go online and create their own profiles and take exams. And we help with webinar sales, all that digital stuff. But we also develop it for you to help you grow and scale your business and help you be more efficient in your business. So we really kind of know what we're doing here, right? So the last part of our business is consulting through all of that, and consulting, right? Just as McKinsey and Company or Bain and Company, right? Or just at the Boston Consulting Group, just as they are consultants, we are consultants too. I guarantee you cannot DM somebody from Bain and Company, DM somebody from McKinsey and Company, or the Boston Consulting Group. You can DM them and try to get some consultancy. You can't. You actually have to go through a formal process. So here's the deal. After the hour-and-a-half meeting with this guy, right? This guy immediately starts sending me follow-up questions in my DM. And this guy's probably wondering why I haven't answered his questions. So what the guy did, multi-tiered questions too, still trying to get free consulting. Now, if you're a consultant, you know you get paid for your time, okay? Time is more valuable than money, but when it comes to consultant, time is money, okay? For every minute I give to you consulting you, or someone from our company consulting your company, we get paid for that, okay? So trying to take advantage, asking these extra questions and trying to, circumvent the process doesn't work with us. So the guy basically finally emails me, or actually called me, and he's pissed that I'm not responding to his DMs, right? Or I'm not responding to his questions in while I'm doing the show. I'm not responding to his questions because I might be talking about, the importance of contracts, but he's asking me something about marketing, or he's asking me something about sales in the DM, right? Oh, I mean, actually in the feed of my live show for the Startup Junkie, which I do for startups and for current business owners looking for some solutions, right? This is our give back to you as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, right? But this guy's trying to take advantage. So I basically told him, I said, look here, Buster. Yeah, I said Buster. I'm old school. I said, look here, man. You can't get shit for free. You can't, okay? You're a business consultant. I guarantee you for every minute that you spend with your clients, you charge them for that. So don't expect us to give you stuff for free. You actually have to pay for it, right? Just as an attorney, which my wife is an attorney, and she has several friends that have clients that try to call and ask and try to get insight on this and insight on it instead of doing the research themselves. And then all of a sudden they get a bill. So guess what? I actually sent the guy a bill. I sent him an invoice. And so I haven't heard from him since. It's unlikely that I'm going to get paid on it, but he gets the message. So what is the story here? Okay. The story here is, I did not get a contract with this person, okay, after the free consult. But I should have made it more clear that you have to sign a contract if you want anything else from us. So the lesson is always get a contract, set the expectations of the contract, set the expectations of the customer-client relationship within the contract, and make sure you stick to it to a T, because that's what it's all about. It's about entrepreneurs helping one another, make sense of all of this crazy madness out here. You know what I mean? And all I can say to you is I appreciate you checking out the show. And until tomorrow, everyone, I'm AJ. You know what I'm gonna talk about tomorrow? I'm gonna talk about if you can't be number one, don't even bother. Okay? If you cannot be number one, if you're not trying to be number one in what it is you're doing, don't even bother. All right. So until tomorrow, Startup Junkie, I'm AJ, everyone, and I'm out. Take care, y'all.